Welcome to Zentara Unlocked, the official podcast of Zentara blog. In today's podcast, we cover Top 10 Ancient Myths and Texts that sound suspiciously like alien encounters. Have you ever looked up at the stars and wondered if we're truly alone in the universe? It's a question humans have pondered for ages. While we explore space today with rockets and satellites, people in ancient times didn't have that technology. Yet across the world, in their oldest stories, myths, and religious texts, we find descriptions of incredible flying objects, powerful beings descending from the sky, and strange events that are hard to explain with our usual understanding of history. For thousands of years, these tales were simply understood as stories about gods, angels, or mythical creatures. But in recent decades, an intriguing idea called the ancient astronaut hypothesis has gained popularity. This idea suggests that some of these ancient stories might actually be describing visits from intelligent beings from other planets, essentially alien encounters. Now, it's super important to remember that this is just a hypothesis, a fascinating way to look at old stories with a modern perspective. There's no concrete proof that aliens visited Earth in the past, but when you read these ancient texts and myths, some descriptions do make you stop and think, that sounds suspiciously like something out of a science fiction movie. Let's explore 10 examples from around the world where ancient accounts contain strange details that some people interpret as evidence of contact with visitors from the stars. Get ready to dive into some of the most captivating ancient mysteries explained through this unique lens. 1. India's flying machines, the Vimanas of the Mahabharata. Imagine reading an epic poem from ancient India, thousands of years old, and finding detailed descriptions of flying machines. That's exactly what you find in texts like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. These incredible vehicles are called Vimanas. They are described as aerial chariots, sometimes powered by unknown forces, capable of flying at great speeds, hovering, and traveling between cities or even across continents. Some accounts even mention weapons being used from them. The descriptions are surprisingly technical for texts written so long ago. The Vimanas are said to be made of specific metals, have different shapes like saucers or cylinders, and even require pilots. They could land on water or land. Critics say these are simply mythological elements, like flying horses or magic carpets. However, proponents of the ancient astronaut hypothesis point out that the level of detail and the descriptions of their abilities sound remarkably like modern aircraft or even spacecraft. Could these ancient Indian texts be preserving memories, passed down through generations, of advanced technology witnessed long ago, perhaps brought by visitors from the sky? It makes these old ancient texts strange stories indeed. 2. Ezekiel's heavenly chariot, a prophet's vision. One of the most famous examples cited in discussions about ancient visitors comes from a religious text closer to home for many, the Bible. In the Old Testament, the prophet Ezekiel describes a complex and awe-inspiring vision he had by the Shebar River. He saw a whirlwind coming from the north, with flashing fire and brilliant light. Within it were 4 living creatures, each with 4 faces, human, lion, ox, eagle, and 4 wings. Beside each creature was a wheel within a wheel, full of eyes, that moved in any direction without turning. Ezekiel describes the sound of their wings like rushing water and the voice of the Almighty from above the crystal-like platform over their heads. While traditionally interpreted as a divine vision of God's glory and heavenly beings, angels, some people look at the mechanical-sounding descriptions, the wheels, the movement, the noise, the brilliant metal, and wonder if Ezekiel was actually witnessing a physical craft and its occupants. Could the living creatures be beings in suits, and the wheels part of a complex propulsion system? The description sounds less like typical angelic visions, and more like an unexplained historical event involving strange, powerful technology descending from above. 3. Sumerian tablets, those who from heaven came, the Anunnaki. Some of the oldest written records we have come from ancient Sumer in Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq. These cuneiform tablets tell stories of the creation of the world and humanity, and they frequently mention beings called the Anunnaki. The name Anunnaki is often translated as those who from heaven came down to earth. These beings are described as powerful, wise, and responsible for giving humans knowledge like agriculture and writing. According to the Sumerian texts, the Anunnaki traveled between Earth and their home world. Some interpretations, particularly those popularized by author Zecharia Sitchin, suggest that the Anunnaki were actually extraterrestrial visitors who came to Earth, perhaps seeking resources, and genetically engineered early humans to serve as a labor force. While mainstream historians and archaeologists interpret the Anunnaki as gods or mythological figures representing natural forces, the recurring theme of Beings, gods descending from sky myths who arrive from the heavens and interact directly with humanity is seen by ancient astronaut theorists as compelling. 4. The Popol Vuh, Maya creation from the sky. Moving to the Americas, the sacred book of the Quiché Maya people, the Popol Vuh, contains fascinating creation myths. It tells the story of creation not by a single deity, but by powerful beings referred to as the Sky Heart and others who discuss and plan the creation of the earth and its inhabitants. These beings are described as existing in the sky and communicating with each other to bring about the world we know. The descriptions of these creator beings are sometimes interpreted as sounding like advanced entities observing and manipulating events from above. While clearly a spiritual and mythological account, the idea of powerful entities residing in the sky and directly involved in the origins of humanity resonates with the theme of visitors from another world. The Popol Vuh, like many other global creation stories, describes beings with immense power and knowledge who come from the celestial realm, adding another layer to the mysteries of the past. 5. Ancient Egyptian accounts, gods arriving by air. Ancient Egypt, with its monumental pyramids and advanced civilization, is another hotbed for discussions around ancient visitors. Egyptian texts and imagery frequently depict their gods interacting with humans, and some accounts describe the arrival and departure of these deities in ways that proponents of the ancient astronaut hypothesis find curious. For instance, depictions show gods on boats in the sky, often interpreted as solar boats, but some see these as symbolic representations of advanced craft. Texts sometimes describe the gods as arriving from the stars, like the constellation Orion or the star Sirius, while traditional Egyptology views this as metaphorical language related to their religious beliefs about the afterlife and the cosmos. The recurring motif of divine beings associated with specific stars and arriving from the sky is interpreted by some as potential echoes of real events. Could the immense knowledge and sudden appearance of advanced civilization in Egypt be linked to instruction or assistance from gods who arrive by air? These ancient civilizations' advanced technology seem to appear remarkably quickly in the historical record. 6. The Book of Enoch, Journeys with the Watchers. The Book of Enoch is an ancient Jewish religious work, not considered part of the canonical Bible by most Christian denominations today, but highly influential in its time. It tells the story of Enoch, an antediluvian pre-flood patriarch who has taken on incredible journeys to heaven and earth by angelic beings called Watchers. Enoch describes seeing cosmic phenomena, the structure of the cosmos, and receiving divine secrets. The Watchers are described as celestial beings, but some of them descend to earth, interact with humans, and according to the text even teach humans forbidden knowledge like metalworking, cosmetics, and sorcery. While traditionally seen as angels who sinned, the descriptions of their descent, their interaction, and the knowledge they impart are interpreted by some as sounding like extraterrestrial visitors sharing technology and influencing human development. The detailed descriptions of Enoch's celestial travels also strike some as potentially describing journeys in advanced craft, adding to the list of ancient texts' strange stories. 7th, Hindu Puranas, more divine aerial vehicles. Beyond the Mahabharata, other ancient Hindu scriptures, known as the Puranas, also contain accounts of incredible flying vehicles used by the gods and other celestial beings. These texts describe vimanas of various sizes and capabilities, used for travel between different realms like heaven and earth, and even for warfare in the skies. One Purana describes a vimana as an aerial ship, traveling to the stellar regions, a vessel in which beings from the starry constellations may travel. While these are embedded within deeply complex mythological and religious narratives, the consistent descriptions across different texts of sophisticated aerial craft used by non-human beings who travel from distant places are seen by ancient astronaut proponents as potentially describing real observations passed down orally and eventually written into sacred texts. These narratives offer more examples of gods descending from sky myths with apparent technological means. 8. The Dogon tribe's Sirius mystery, knowledge of the stars. The Dogon people of Mali, West Africa, have long held fascinating astronomical knowledge, particularly concerning the Sirius star system. According to their oral traditions, they possess detailed information about Sirius B, a white dwarf companion star to Sirius A, which is invisible to the naked eye and wasn't scientifically confirmed until the 19th century using powerful telescopes. The Dogon knew about Sirius B's existence, its incredible density, and its elliptical orbit around Sirius A. Their myths state this knowledge was given to them by beings called the Namo, amphibious creatures who came from the Sirius system. While skeptics argue the Dogon must have acquired this information from modern astronomers sometime after the French arrived in the area, the Dogon maintain their knowledge is ancient and sacred. passed down for generations. This discrepancy between traditional knowledge and known historical contact points is one of the most cited examples by those who believe in unexplained historical events potentially linked to extraterrestrial contact. 9. Indigenous lore, tales of star people. Across indigenous cultures worldwide, from Native Americans in North America to Aboriginal Australians and tribes in South America, there are ancient legends and oral traditions about star people or beings who came from the sky. These beings are often described as bringing knowledge, introducing agriculture, or playing a role in the creation or early development of humanity. For example, some Native American tribes have stories of the Pleiades constellation being significant to their origins, or having ancestors who came from the stars. Australian Aboriginal Dreamtime stories also feature celestial beings. While these myths are deeply spiritual and integral to the cultures that hold them, the widespread theme of powerful beings arriving from the stars is seen by some as a global echo of actual encounters. Could these varied tales be different cultures' ways of describing the same incredible phenomenon, visitors from other worlds? These stories add a rich layer to the understanding of ancient mysteries explained by potential cosmic connections. Deset. The legend of Oannes, knowledge from the deep or sky. From ancient Babylonia comes the legend of Oannes, a strange being described as looking like a fish but with a human head under its fish head and human feet under its fish tail. According to the historian Berossus, Oannes emerged from the Erythraean Sea, likely the Persian Gulf, and came ashore to interact with the early inhabitants. He is credited with teaching humanity all the essential arts and sciences: writing, agriculture, astronomy, geometry, and the building of cities, essentially laying the foundations for Babylonian civilization. During the day he would teach, and at night he would return to the sea. While traditionally interpreted as a myth about a culture hero or a representation of wisdom coming from the cosmic ocean, some ancient astronaut theorists see Oannes as a possible description of a non-human entity, perhaps wearing a protective suit like a diving suit or even space gear, who imparted advanced knowledge to a primitive human population. The idea of a being arriving from outside their known world, whether the sea or the sky, and suddenly introducing sophisticated knowledge resonates with the concept of extraterrestrial visitors accelerating human development. This legend raises questions about the origins of ancient civilizations' advanced technology. Exploring these ancient myths and texts through the lens of the ancient astronaut hypothesis is a fascinating journey that bridges history, mythology, and the enduring human curiosity about life beyond Earth. While the traditional interpretations of these stories as religious allegory, mythology, or historical accounts remain the most widely accepted, the intriguing parallels between some ancient descriptions and modern ideas of extraterrestrial visitation keep the discussion alive. Whether these accounts are purely symbolic or contain echoes of something more, they remind us that the universe is vast and full of wonders, both ancient and perhaps extraterrestrial. And that's a wrap for this episode of Zentara Unlocked. We hope you enjoyed it. But the journey doesn't end here. To see the visuals that accompany this discussion, read the full article at your own pace and discover our curated list of books for further reading, with links to easily find them. Head straight over to zentara.blog. That's zentara.blog. While you're there, explore the other 5 new articles we published today and check out our weekly ebooks, compiling our most popular topics. Don't forget to subscribe to Zentara Unlocked so you don't miss any of our 6 daily episodes. Thanks for listening, and keep that curiosity alive.